Hi, this is Dan.
This is Carly.
This is Judy.
And this is Mike.
From Gear Diary. We're up here at GearFest 2012, and we've been spending a lot of time off camera talking about our different gear and our apps and what we're hoping for with the new iPhone, and a lot more than that. And we finally said, hey, let's put this on camera. So we are. So over the next couple of days, we're going to have a number of parts of this video where we talk about different things that are important to us as far as tech goes, things that we're using, things that we're hoping for. So the first thing that we were thinking about talking about was just using our iPad. Last night we were sitting at the table, the four of us. Two of us had our MacBook Pros out with iPads right next to them, and two of us were just using the iPad. And we got into a conversation talking about how we're all using our iPads even more because of the power of the iPad 3 and the apps. So let's just talk about how are you using the iPad as a productivity device, because let's remember when the iPad was first announced, everyone talked about it as being a consumption device.
A big iPod Touch.
A big iPod Touch. And you know what? It may just be a big iPod Touch, but it's a big, awesome iPod Touch. Yeah. So, Mike, do you want to jump in? Because you use it a lot these days.
I do. It's my 80% computer. There's 20% of things, whether it's high-power statistics or gaming, that I can't do on there. But other than that, I use it all the time. I do have the 4G. I can VPN into work, get my work email, get work content. That way I can actually there are auxiliary apps for some of the corporate statistics programs I work with, as well as all of Office documents, games, music apps, and the iPad is just amazing for a music studio. It cost you $1 million 20 years ago to do what you can do on this thing now in a music studio.
Just $1 million?
So Judy, you just bought the super duper MacBook Pro Retina.
I did.
And you've been on it a little bit, but you've been using your iPad. What's the balance for you?
Balance just depends on what I need to do. If I am doing a genealogy type thing, I usually will use both my MacBook and my iPad together. If I'm writing an article, I might do the research on my iPad and write on the MacBook Pro. I find it easier to write on my MacBook Pro, where I know that Carly was saying that, well, I'll let her say that herself. But for me, my iPad is almost everything I can do on my laptop. I use it for reading. I use it for games. I use it for spreadsheets. I use it for Word documents. I use it for all kinds of things. And it's more compact for me. I like using the on-screen typewriter. I don't need to bring a Bluetooth one along. I enjoy writing on the screen. But there are times when it just feels more natural to be writing on a regular full-size laptop, and there are things that I need on the full-size laptop that I can't get on this, so it just works out for me to use both.
Carly, who shocked a lot of us when you actually got an iPad?
She did.
I did shock everybody with that. I fell in love with it immediately, though. And if Mike calls it his 80% computer, I would say this is more like my 90% computer.
Wow.
What I was telling Judy over the weekend is that a lot of times, especially if I'm writing a post, I have a tendency to get a little bit distracted as I go. So I'm looking at a link in Safari, and then suddenly I'm off on a tangent where I thought, you know what, let me check out IMDb because I'm watching TV and I can't remember who that actor is, and suddenly it's a half an hour later and my post isn't written and I have to go to bed and it's a mess. I find that I get a little bit less distracted when I'm using the iPad because I use Blogsy. All I'm focused on is writing, and even if I'm switching back and forth to Safari to look at stuff, I'm still moving back to Blogsy to do my actual writing. It's a lot less tempting than having WordPress open in a tab sitting there right next to me so that I can constantly go, well, let me just add one more thing and look at something else instead. It's a little bit less of a distractor for me. I like the screen. I love the on-screen keyboard. And the few times that I felt that I had a review or something where I needed a bigger keyboard, I needed more than just the keyboard. I needed the ability to upload things, to upload videos. I mean, there was more going on at that point. So it wasn't a matter of just, I need something more to type. It was, I need a little bit more power. But for basic photo editing, if I have a picture or things like that and I want to touch it up, I'm doing it on the iPad anyway. Everything that I would want to do when it comes to my non-work computing life, chances are I can find a way to do it easier and faster on the iPad than I can on a regular computer. So why not just reach for the iPad? I like it better, it's more comfortable, everything I want is there, and I find that it makes me more productive because everything works faster and I'm more single task focused, so I don't tend to get as distracted.
And I think that's one of the keys is that with computers a lot of time, it was what program are you using? Mm-hmm. With the iPad, what I suggest to people who are new to the iPad is think about what you need to do and then go find the app that will let you do it. Anything you want to do, you can do on the iPad pretty much. Mm-hmm. You just need to find the app. So start with the activity. I mean, I'm a nice balance. I think your point's really good about the fact that when you have one screen, one window, it's less distracting. At the same time, if I'm writing a post, I actually want 2 or 3 windows. So that's the trade-off for me. And yes, I can jump back and forth, but that can be a bit of a pain. But I find myself on the iPad a huge amount of time because of the ubiquitous connectivity, because of the long battery life, because it's more transportable. I do love the power of the MacBook Pro and the speed of being able to do that. But as the apps get more powerful, so does the reliance that I have on the iPad.